Taboo Tattoo. Seigi saves a homeless man from a group of thugs. After the man has finished thanking him, he gives him a tattoo on his right hand by pressing an odd rock onto the skin, then wanders off. The next day, Seigi is the target of an attack by a shady-looking young girl who first takes his mobile phone and then confronts him inside an abandoned building. Izzy, the girl, tells Seigi about her tattoo and the strength it possesses. Izzy continues to follow Seigi around for the next few days, despite the fact that he and his friend Toko both see that she is not very good at stalking him. Suddenly, an American gangster launches an attack on Seigi. The assailant has his own tattoo. After coming dangerously close to being killed by the man, Seigi inadvertently releases the power within his own tattoo, allowing him to be victorious over his attacker. Seigi awakens in his room, where Izzy demands that he join her with his new abilities. Seigi is first hesitant, but Izzy presses the issue. The following day, when she enrolls as a transfer student in his class, Seigi takes Izzy up on her invitation to join the Blue Moon unit with Tom, although he only does so after much reluctance. After some time has passed, Seigi uses Izzy's hand-drawn map to locate the safe house where Tom is currently residing. In the meantime, Princess Aryabhata overthrows her parents and seizes control of the kingdom of Silinistan through a brutal takeover. She then dispatches a pair of Brahmin to Japan in search of the triggerless tattoo. One of them assaults Izzy as she was planting digital tripwires at school, and the other one takes possession of Toko and uses her with his tattoo's powers to stab Tom and attack Seigi. Toko experiences a memory of Iltutmish, the girl who possessed her while confined within her own body. In the meantime, Seigi has a difficult time defeating Iltutmish since he does not want to harm Toko. Following a series of maneuvers, Tom is able to stabilize himself to the point where he can tear Iltutmish out of Toko's body. As Iltutmish runs away, Seigi's attack ultimately leads to the destruction of the majority of the home. The following day, Izzy and Seigi train their techniques underneath the house while Tom works on covering up the tattoo imprint on Toko's forehead. In the process, Tom reveals that his tattoo is a removable replica that cancels out other tattoos. Later on, Izzy has a meeting with a co-worker from the nearby US Army detachment, while at the same time, the Brahmin are plotting their schemes against the same co-worker. Iltutmish jumps out of a helicopter and kills many members of the United States Army before engaging in combat with Lisa inside her safe house. Izzy makes several attempts to assist her, but she cannot free herself due to a secret tattoo erasing device that the Brahmin set. Seigi decides to go on his own and confronts Iltutmish, but it is already too late for him to prevent Lisa from being taken captive. After some time, Izzy returns to the safe house to recover, and then she continues her search for the Brahmin at a nearby port. Tom locks Seigi and Toko in the basement of the safe house for their protection, but Seigi makes the decision to escape on his own and go aid Izzy, which results in him accidentally destroying most of the safe house with his ability. That evening, Izzy and a small group of other American soldiers wait by the docks to confront the Brahmin before they leave. Before attacking, Izzy, Iltutmish, and Lurker, aka RR, use their powers to kill several troops from the United States military. Seigi and Toko just as they arrive in time to assist, but Iltutmish attacks and uses her power to teleport to multiple locations rapidly. This power is known as Schrodinger's cat. In the end, Seigi decides to use his power, but instead of killing Iltutmish and Toko, he creates a sinkhole underneath them. While this is happening, Izzy and Lisa, who have only recently been set free, are working together to eliminate RR. On the other hand, Aryabhata suddenly shows up and teleports with her Brahmin away from the location. After some time has passed, Toko eventually comes across Aryabhata out in public and dares her to a game of ping pong. After she was defeated, Aryabhata molested her while continuing to explain about the tattoos to Seigi. After some Some time had passed. Aryabhatta had a conversation with the unknown assailant who had attacked Seigi earlier that evening. After arriving in Japan, Blackstone brings Seigi to the Aryabhatta High Order Physics Lab. This is the headquarters for the Kingdom's tattoo research in Japan, where they are investigating the noise-canceling system to neutralize tattoos. After breaking into the lab, they come face to face with the crazed Mr. Genius, also known as Dr. Karam, and his fighters, all of whom have copy tattoos and are also booby-trapped so that they will detonate if they are knocked out. Through his knowledge, expertise, and supernatural abilities, Blackstone can neutralize Dr. Karam and his aide Manisha, defuse the bombs, and win the battle against the other combatants. Aryabhatta departs, leaving Iltutmish and Kal Shikar in charge of protecting the laboratory. Both Blackstone and Wise Man are in agreement that Aryabhatta must be stopped as soon as possible, because if she takes control of the situation, it will be impossible to stop her in the future. He begins teaching Seigi new skills. Later, he explains to Izzy that the 4 ruins are the keys to controlling the tattoos and that the kingdom already possesses 2 of them. After that, Wise Man offers Blackstone an experimental nanomachine capsule to consume, and Blackstone enters a locked chamber to access and modify the source code of his tattoo. A team led by Colonel Sanders is dispatched to attack the kingdom base located in the 4th ruin in Japan. In a fleet of helicopters, he transports Izzy, Seigi, and Toko, as well as the 4 hermetically sealed fighters, Captain Johnson, Lisa, and Major Leonardo Burns, and 20 sealed copies. They begin by exposing the area to a thorough aerial bombardment from the helicopters, but Kal Shikar is unharmed and effortlessly eliminates Captain Johnson. Iltutmish is dispatched by Aryabhatta to the location in order to provide backup for Kal. Heavy casualties are sustained by both sides. Izzy comes to the realization that they are outmatched after the arrival of Iltutmish, who turns into a massive beast like a saber-toothed tiger. Aryabhatta has made the decision to accompany her armies personally to the location so that she can provide them with more support. Kal's opponent, Colonel Sanders, joins the fray and proves to be a worthy opponent for her, but Kal quickly dispatches Sanders and Izzy. Blackstone appears out of nowhere and has a confrontation with Kal. In the meantime, Aryabhatta has located Seigi and is proceeding to stab him with wooden spears. She explains that her plan was a trap to bring Blackstone into her net so that she could steal his key. Blackstone provokes Kal into attacking him by making fun of the fact that she loves him, thereby embarrassing her and then by inciting her to do so. While the rest of their respective armies fight it out, Blackstone and Kal get into a vicious brawl with each other. Major Leonardo Burns takes control after Sanders is severely injured and orders a retreat, but individual fights continue. Burns and Lisa fight the Iltutmish giant cat. Blackstone fights Kal. Major Leonardo Burns decides to make a selfless sacrifice in order to save Lisa, while Blackstone fights against Kal. Seigi is able to successfully use his power to aid Blackstone in his victory over Kal, but only at the expense of his own well-being in the process. Toko decides not to leave with Burns and instead flees back to be with Seigi, but she is slain by Iltutmish's beast. With the battle at a stalemate, Aryabhatta decides to withdraw. Back in Tokyo, Seigi agonizes over what had occurred while Wise Man breaks down how the tattoos function. Izzy locates them, and Wise Man explains to them Blackstone's ultimate objective, which is to eradicate all tattoos from the face of the earth. He discloses that a piece of Blackstone's spirit still resides in Seigi, and that if Seigi enters the chamber he made, he will be able to experience the memories that Blackstone had. Wise Man proposes to Seigi, suggesting that the 2 of them work together to achieve Blackstone's dream. Seigi enters Blackstone's chamber and experiences a flashback. We see the time when Blackstone became a member of Princess Aryabhatta's Brahmin squad to infiltrate her research facility at Samsara and learn how to eliminate the tattoos. During their time in Brahman, on, Blackstone joins forces with Varma, a young man who is spying on Arya on behalf of the king of Selenistan to obtain information regarding Arya's studies on tattoos. They learn that the king originally created Arya and see her system for making sister clones. Varma comes dangerously close to losing his life as he tries to flee and give the information to the king. After the fight that took place at the kingdom base in Japan, Arya is determined to locate Blackstone, whether he is dead or alive. A year has passed since the previous events, and throughout this time, Seigi and Izzy have spent their time in hiding and training with Wise Man Squad. Then, they get a video letter from Arya in which she demonstrates that they are holding Lisa captive and invites Seigi to the location of the third set of ruins, which are located in the Grand Canyon. Wise Man wants Seigi to wait until he can plant a virus in his tattoo, which is the key to destroying the ruin system, but Izzy wants to rescue Lisa immediately. Seigi, Tom, and Tamaki agree to go with her, but Tamaki proposes to Yumi before they leave. After traveling to the Grand Canyon, the four of them comes face to face with the kingdom's sealed fighters. Among them are R.R. Lurker and Dean Carter, also known as the Awful Shark. Izzy is confronted by R.R. Lurker, as well as Lisa, who is under the influence of Iltutmish at this point. The US border forces are vastly outmatched by the warriors of the kingdom and are almost entirely wiped out as a result. Arya is able to sneak into their command headquarters with ease, where she launches an assault on Colonel Sanders and ultimately wins. Seigi and his team find the ruins 200 meters below in a cavern. Seigi uses his void power to travel down, but is confronted by Cal. They are only able to utilize a portion of their powers, thus they must rely on their own abilities to battle. In the meantime, Wise Man's party is still engaged in combat above ground with the kingdom's sealed fighters. While Izzy faces off against Lisa, Lawrence and Tony come over to lend a hand in taking care of R.R. Lurker. Izzy is victorious over Lisa, but Lurker is able to kill Lawrence. Nonetheless, Izzy is able to overcome Lurker by shooting him with a sealed poisoned bullet. Seigi successfully defeats Cal with the assistance of the portion of Blackstone that resides within him. Nevertheless, he is challenged by Princess Aryabhatta as she manipulates the rocks that are surrounding them to form a huge hand to crush him. He appears to be powerless against her. In the meantime, Izzy, Tamaki, and Tom are on their way to aid Seigi when they come across a dejected Colonel Sanders. They find him impaled on spikes of rock. Seigi makes an effort to fight back against Arya, but she is simply too powerful, and Seigi's own power as a void maker is dwindling. Tom brings the injured Seigi to safety, while Izzy and Tamaki continue to fight Arya, but they are quickly outmatched as she transforms into a massive black beast. Tom then puts Seigi under his protection. While everything is going on, the soldiers transport Colonel Sanders to a waiting chopper. He makes the decision to unleash a nuclear weapon which would wipe out Arya, the ruins, and everyone else, but the device that would set off the bomb does not work. Seigi leaps from the helicopter and catches the wounded Izzy in midair. Wise Man initiates a program that transforms Seigi into a giant beast activated by the triggerless tattoo source. Similar to the one created by Arya, a massive conflict breaks out amongst the beast, while Seigi discovers that Arya's power originates from the souls of her clone sisters. This knowledge incites him to battle even more ferociously. Seigi is able to defeat Arya's beast thanks to his experience in martial arts and the presence of Blackstone's spirit within him. Yet, Arya is still able to go away with her life. The United States military rejoices in their win in the battle, but as long as Arya is still alive, the war will not be won. Thank you for watching the video, and don't forget to click the bell icon and like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos.